Sophie Cunningham had fierce response to Indiana Fever re-sign plea. Sophie Cunningham had a fierce response to a fan's Indiana Fever re-sign plea as the players and the WNBA continued to go back and forth in negotiations regarding player contracts. Sophie Cunningham had a simple message for the fan who requested she re-sign with the Indiana Fever next season. Before the 2025 WNBA season, Cunningham was traded to the Fever in a massive trade, and though she was tabbed to be an integral part of Indiana's core, the 29-year-old missed 14 games with an injury. With Cunningham being an unrestricted free agent, however, it remains to be seen where she will land. As such, when a fan asked her to re-sign with Indiana, she had a fierce message to them. The moment came as Cunningham joined teammates Lexi Hull and Caitlin Clark at the Onica. When the fan called out to Cunningham and Hull to return to the Fever, the former plainly said, "Tell them to pay us." The them in question refers to the WNBA and ongoing CBA negotiations between the league and its players to allot proper contracts. Heading into the 2025 season, it was all but certain that the players would opt out of the current CBA to negotiate an improved version after the WNBA signed an 11-year media deal worth roughly $200 million per year. The deal was signed in July 2024, and since then, the players have been seeking better wages. Of note, the previous CBA allowed players to opt out after the 2025 season, which is what happened, leading to the current stalemate. What's more, players around the league signed contracts that expired at the conclusion of the year, allowing them be unrestricted free agents and sign deals when the new CBA and increased salaries kick in. Cunningham happens to be one of those free agents, along with Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, Damiris Dantas, Sydney Colson, Brianna Turner, Ari McDonald, and Odyssey Sims. Of the 144 players in the WNBA, only 40 of them are either restricted free agents or reserved players, according to SB Nation. Restricted free agents, like Hull, are players with 4 years of experience whose contracts are up, and if teams do not extend a qualifying offer, they will be unrestricted free agents. Reserved players are those with 3 years of service and can't negotiate with other teams unless their original franchise does not extend a qualifying offer. If a qualifying offer is extended, their original team can match any offer. With the two sides continuing to negotiate, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver gave his 2 cents on the matter. "I think share isn't the right way to look at it, because there's so much more revenue in the NBA," Silver said on the Today Show. "I think you should look at the absolute numbers in terms of what they're making, and they are going to get a big increase in this cycle of collective bargaining, and they deserve it." In response, the WNBA's Player Association posted the clip on social media with the caption, "Don't want to share?" at Adam Silver. It must be noted that the players in the WNBA only earn about 9.3% of the league's income, while the NBA shares roughly half of the basketball-related income. The Indiana Fever front office thought they were ready for anything. They had navigated draft nights, locker room disagreements, media storms, and even the tornado-level energy that came with Caitlin Clark's arrival. But nothing, and truly nothing, prepared them for Sophie Cunningham's response when they reached out with a heartfelt plea to re-sign. It started innocently on a cold November morning, long after the Fever's season ended but just as the rumors started heating up. Sophie Cunningham, freshly recovered from a whirlwind season of basketball, media appearances, and a surprising summer spent half caddying, half chaos-making at LPGA Pro-Am, sat at her kitchen counter, wearing sweats and the expression of someone with zero intention of checking her phone. But her phone buzzed. And again. She finally reached for it, lifting one eyebrow as she saw the name lighting up her screen, Indiana Fever GM. "Already?" she muttered, tossing a ball of popcorn into her mouth. "Y'all don't waste time." She let it ring twice more before answering. "Hey Sophie," the GM said, straight into business mode. "Hope your off-season is going well. We'd love to schedule a meeting to talk about next year. You know, re-signing." Sophie smirked. "Already trying to lock me down?" "Well," the GM laughed nervously, "you're an essential part of the culture here. You bring toughness, leadership, and the chemistry you've built with Caitlin is, well, priceless." Sophie leaned back in her chair, letting the silence stretch before delivering her signature brand of friendly chaos. "I mean," she said, I did spend half the year making sure Caitlin didn't get herself tackled on the court. That's premium security service. Should have been paid overtime. The GM chuckled politely, though he wasn't fully sure whether she was joking. Sophie wasn't either. Look, she continued, her tone sharpening with the competitive edge that made her both feared and loved league-wide. I'll listen. But I'm not signing anything unless we're talking about winning, real winning. Not moral victories. Not close games. Not great progress quotes in post-game interviews. I want banners. It wasn't a refusal, but it wasn't a soft yes either. It was pure Sophie, bold, uncompromising, and unapologetically loud in her expectations. The Fever's plea. 2 days later, the Fever invited her to Indianapolis. Not for a formal negotiation, but for what they called an appreciation meeting. When she walked into the practice facility, she immediately noticed it was decorated like a strange cross between a contract pitch and a birthday party. Posters of her defensive highlights were hung next to framed quotes from the fanbase. Keep Sophie. The heart of Indiana. The Clark-Cunningham duo must continue. There was even a cake on the table shaped like a basketball with the words "Please Ari" sign iced across it. She burst out laughing. Y'all are insane, she said. A cake? Seriously? The GM shrugged. We thought you'd like it. You thought right, she said, grabbing a slice. But it's gonna take more than sugar to convince me. The meeting began, projecting numbers, discussing roster plans, future draft picks, training improvements, everything a player could want to hear. But then they showed her something unexpected. A video. It began with fans from all over Indiana, holding signs, wearing Fever jerseys, shouting messages of support for Sophie. Then came her teammates, Lexi Hull saying she wasn't ready to lose her favorite trash talk partner, Aaliyah Boston saying she needed her energy in the locker room, Caitlin Clark, smiling like someone trying not to get emotional. Keep the band together, Caitlin said in the video. We're building something special. And I need someone who'll yell at me when I get stupid on the court. So, don't go. Sophie stared at the screen, quietly, the room waiting for her reaction. When the video ended, she stood up. The GM leaned forward, hopeful. So, what do you think? Her fierce response. Sophie crossed her arms, shifting her weight like she was about to drive the lane. Okay, she said slowly. Let me be real. The room stiffened. You want me to re-sign because I'm tough. Because I bring energy. Because I help glue the team together. Exactly, the GM said. Good, she replied. Because if I re-sign, I'm not doing it quietly. She pointed a finger around the room. I'm coming back loud.